New Era, Unlocking the Power of Consciousness, Chapter 1. Discovering Idealism, the Roots of a Mind-Centric Philosophy. Idealism is a philosophy that invites us to rethink the very nature of reality, pulling us away from the familiar ground of materialism and into a world where consciousness reigns supreme. Imagine a universe not constructed from the building blocks we're used to: atoms, molecules, energy, but woven entirely from the fabric of mind. In this view, everything you experience, from the chair you're sitting on to the stars in the night sky, isn't a physical object existing independently out there. It's a manifestation of thought, a creation of perception held together by consciousness. This isn't a new idea, it's a thread that runs through the history of human thought, stretching back thousands of years to some of the greatest minds in philosophy. Let's travel back to ancient Greece, around 400 BCE, where the philosopher Plato first planted the seeds of idealism with his theory of forms. Picture Plato in his academy in Athens, surrounded by students eager to understand the nature of reality. He taught that the world we perceive with our senses, the material world of tables, trees, and rivers, isn't the true reality. Instead, it's a shadow, a pale reflection of a higher, ideal realm where perfect concepts exist. Take a chair, for example. The chair in your room is imperfect, it might wobble, its paint might chip, but it's a reflection of the form of chairness, a perfect, eternal idea that exists in a non-physical dimension. For Plato, true knowledge came from understanding these forms through reason and contemplation, not from observing the flawed material world. His philosophy suggested that reality is more than what we see. It's rooted in a realm of ideas, a concept that would later become a cornerstone of idealism. Centuries later, in the early 18th century, an Irish philosopher named George Berkeley took this idea even further, crafting a version of idealism that was both radical and deeply intuitive. Imagine Berkeley in his study, pen in hand, as he wrote his famous phrase, "Est percipi," which translates to be is to be perceived. For Berkeley, the world doesn't exist independently of a mind to perceive it. A tree in the forest, a rock on the beach, the moon in the sky, they only exist because they're being perceived. If you close your eyes and no one else is around to see the tree, does it disappear? Berkeley's answer was a resounding no, but not because the tree is a physical object with an independent existence. Instead, he believed that a universal mind, God, perceives everything at all times, holding the world together. Without a perceiver, there's nothing to perceive. Berkeley's philosophy was a direct challenge to the materialist view that the world exists on its own, separate from our thoughts. He saw reality as a tapestry of perceptions, woven by a divine consciousness and experienced by individual minds like ours. Then, in the late 18th century, the German philosopher Immanuel Kant added another layer to idealism's evolving story. Picture Kant in his home in Königsberg, pacing as he wrestled with the limits of human knowledge. He argued that we can never know the world as it truly is, what he called the thing in itself. Instead, we only know the world as it appears to us, filtered through the structures of our consciousness. Space, time, and causality, Kant said, aren't features of an external reality, they're frameworks our mind imposes on experience. When you watch a ball roll down a hill, you're not seeing the event as it truly is, you're seeing your mind's interpretation, shaped by the way it organizes sensory data. For Kant, the physical world we experience is a product of our consciousness, a mental construct rather than an independent reality. These historical thinkers, Plato, Berkeley, and Kant, laid the foundation for idealism, showing us that reality might be far more mysterious and far more mental than we've been taught to believe. Their ideas challenge us to look beyond the surface of the world and consider a reality where consciousness, not matter, is the true foundation of everything. Why idealism resonates today in the 21st century. We live in a world dominated by materialism, a worldview that shapes how we think about science, technology, and even our own existence. Materialism tells us that the universe is a vast machine, made of physical particles, atoms, quarks, electrons governed by the laws of physics. In this view, consciousness is a byproduct of brain activity, a kind of epiphenomenon that emerges when neurons fire in just the right way. Your thoughts, emotions, and experiences, the joy of a child's laughter, the ache of a broken heart, the awe of a starry night, are reduced to chemical reactions and electrical impulses in your brain. This perspective has driven incredible progress, from the invention of antibiotics to the exploration of distant planets. But when it comes to the mystery of consciousness, materialism hits a wall, leaving us with more questions than answers. Consider the hard problem of consciousness, a term coined by philosopher David Chalmers in the 1990s. Materialism can explain how the brain processes information. It can map the neural activity when you see a sunset, hear a song, or feel a pang of sadness. But it can't explain why those processes feel like anything at all. Why does a certain pattern of neurons create the experience of orange rather than blue, or no experience at all? Why does consciousness exist in the first place? These questions aren't just philosophical curiosities, they're fundamental challenges to the materialist worldview. If consciousness can't be reduced to physical processes, then maybe the physical world isn't the whole story. This gap is where idealism steps in, offering a perspective that not only addresses these mysteries, but turns them into opportunities for deeper understanding. Idealism is experiencing a renaissance today, fueled by discoveries in science and philosophy that challenge materialist assumptions. Let's look at quantum physics, a field that has puzzled scientists for over a century. In the famous double-slit experiment, particles like electrons behave differently depending on whether they're observed. When unobserved, they act like waves, creating an interference pattern. When observed, they act like particles, forming distinct bands. This phenomenon, known as the observer effect, suggests that consciousness might play a role in shaping reality. If the act of observation determines a particle's state, then perhaps the mind isn't just a passive observer, but an active participant in the fabric of the universe. These findings resonate with idealism's core claim: reality is mental, not physical. The idea that consciousness influences the behavior of particles aligns with what idealist philosophers have been saying for centuries, and it's sparking renewed interest in their worldview. Modern thinkers are also breathing new life into idealism, bringing it into the 21st century with fresh perspectives. Philosophers like Philip Goff explore panpsychism, the idea that consciousness is a fundamental property of the universe, present even in the smallest particles. Imagine a world where not just humans and animals, but even rocks and electrons, have some form of consciousness, not in the sense of thinking or feeling, but as a basic awareness that's woven into the fabric of reality. Others, like Bernardo Kastrup, propose that the universe is a manifestation of a universal mind, a concept that echoes Berkeley's divine perceiver but in a more contemporary framework. Kastrup suggests that what we experience as the physical world is a kind of dream within this universal consciousness, a shared mental construct that we all participate in. These ideas resonate because they address the mysteries materialism can't, like the nature of consciousness, the meaning of life, and our place in the cosmos. Idealism offers a framework where these aren't just unanswerable questions, but invitations to explore a deeper, more connected reality. Beyond the realm of science and philosophy, idealism speaks to our personal experiences in a profound way. In a world that often feels fragmented, where technology isolates us as much as it connects us, where social media amplifies division, and where the pace of life leaves us feeling disconnected, the idea that we're all part of a shared consciousness can be incredibly comforting. Idealism suggests that your thoughts, emotions, and experiences aren't isolated. They're part of a universal mind, rippling out to touch everything else. When you feel joy, that joy isn't just yours, it's a vibration in the cosmic consciousness, resonating with the joy of others. When you feel pain, that pain is shared, held within the same mind that holds all beings. This perspective fosters a sense of unity and purpose, reminding us that we're never truly alone, no matter how isolated we might feel. Idealism also offers a new way to think about meaning and purpose. Materialism often leaves us with a sense of existential emptiness. If we're just biological machines in a random universe, what's the point? Idealism, on the other hand, suggests that consciousness is the foundation of everything and that our individual minds are part of a greater whole. This view can inspire a sense of wonder and responsibility, encouraging us to live in harmony with the world around us. As we journey through this book, we'll explore how this mind-centric perspective can transform not just how you think about reality, but how you live in it, offering a path to greater meaning, connection, and fulfillment in an increasingly complex world. A thought experiment. The dream world. Let's immerse ourselves in a thought experiment I've crafted to help you feel the essence of idealism, a mental journey I call the dream world. This exercise is designed to stretch your imagination and open your mind to a reality where consciousness, not matter, is the foundation of everything. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed, sit comfortably, and close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths, letting your body relax with each exhale. Feel the tension in your shoulders melt away, your breath slowing, your mind settling into a calm, receptive state. Now, let's begin. Imagine you're dreaming, and you find yourself in a forest that feels almost too perfect to be real. The trees tower above you, their branches forming a canopy that filters the sunlight into a golden glow. Each leaf shimmers with every shade of green, from emerald to jade, as if painted by an artist with an infinite palette. You reach out and touch the bark of a tree, feeling its rough texture under your fingertips, the grooves and ridges telling a story of years in the sun. The air is crisp, carrying the earthy scent of moss and the faint sweetness of wildflowers. You hear the gentle chirping of birds high above, their songs weaving a melody that feels both familiar and new. You walk toward a stream, the sound of trickling water growing louder with each step. Kneeling down, you dip your hand into the cool, clear water, watching the ripples spread outward, catching the light in tiny, dancing reflections. Everything is vivid, tangible, alive. You feel fully present in this moment, as if this forest is as real as anything you've ever known. But then, something shifts. You hear a soft whisper, a voice that seems to come from within you. This is a dream. Suddenly, you wake up. The forest, the stream, the birds, they're gone. You're back in your room, the dream fading like mist in the morning sun. It was all a creation of your mind, a world that felt real while you were in it but vanished the moment you awoke. Now, here's the question that lies at the heart of idealism. What if our waking life is like that dream? What if the world you're experiencing right now, the chair you're sitting on, the sound of your own breathing, the light filtering through your window is also a projection of consciousness, just on a grander scale? Idealism suggests that reality is a shared dream, woven by a universal mind and experienced by all of us together. The physical world might not be physical at all, it might be a mental construct, existing only because it's perceived. The chair isn't a solid object made of wood or metal. It's a perception in your mind, a part of the dream you're living in. The sky, the trees, even your own body, they're all part of this cosmic dream, held together by a consciousness that connects us all. This thought experiment isn't just a mental game, it's an invitation to see the world anew, as a living, breathing expression of mind. As you open your eyes and return to your surroundings, carry this question with you. What if everything you experience is a dream of consciousness, and you're both the dreamer and the dream? This idea will guide us as we explore idealism's implications in the chapters ahead, offering a new lens through which to understand reality and your place in it.